you all today?
Good.
What day is it?
Friday.
What does that mean?
Pizza.
You too, huh? That's what it means. Pizza.
Pizza.
And what else? What else?
Friday day.
Ice cream.
Pizza.
Ice cream. And
Ice
pizza.
cream out my head.
So it's a weekend, right? It's Friday, it's a weekend, and we all like Fridays, and we all like the weekend, and we just hope the sun
This
comes
is a
out.
happy
Right?
dance.
That's a happy dance? That's a happy dance sitting down, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It is my birthday party.
Oh, it's your birthday party?
Yeah,
My
and I'm
birthday was
going
last
out.
week. My birthday was last week.
How old did you
Darn
get?
you. You know, the funny thing is, somebody said that to me. I was with I think, my pen
My
pal
birthday was
last week.
May 3rd.
My birthday was May 21st, and I was with a little pen pal last week, and he asked me the same question, and I said, when you get to a certain age, people don't ask you that. And it's not because you don't want to tell them, it's just that you go, ooh, how many years is it? It's been a long time. I don't think I can count that high. She doesn't believe me.
How old are you?
Oh, really old. Oh.
66.
No, not that old. No.
70.
63. 63.
Oh,
Oh, that was close. That was close. You had me older than I was. So, listen, what we're going to do today, is I'm going to read you a book called The Elephant Quilt. And I got to tell you a story about quilts because I come from a place, I come from the senior center. And every Friday we make quilts, and I'm going to be going back there this afternoon, and there's a whole bunch of ladies, about 25 ladies, a lot of them, they're going to be making quilts. Do you know what a quilt is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Does everybody have a quilt at home, or you've seen a quilt, right?
I have a quilt.
Yeah.
I have a quilt.
Did anybody have your grandma make somebody make it for you?
No.
Yeah?
I got it from my uncle.
Yeah? Yeah, that's good too. Somebody made it. And do you know how you make a quilt? You take all these different pieces of cloth, and what's great about it is you have all these little pieces, and you sew them all together, and you put stuff inside, so it's like a great big, it's like having two sheets. And you put things inside, you sew up the edges, you get a quilt. And the great thing is you never waste anything. You have little pieces of cloth, and the great thing is it doesn't have to match. It can be all different colors cloth, all different pieces, all different sizes.
My Nana makes quilt.
She does? She does, she probably could
Full of yarn.
But what?
Full of yarn.
Yeah.
Of yarn.
Yarn?
So that's
Oh,
a
so
different kind of
like-
blanket tie-up.
Yeah, that's like a crochet or a knitting. We do that too, and you know, I gotta tell you a funny story. We make Christmas stockings. And one of the ladies, it was the first time she ever made a Christmas stocking. And we were sending them to men and women overseas who were in the Army, in the U.S. Army. And what happened was, this woman, it was the first time she ever knitted anything, and it didn't look like everybody else's. It was kind of, well, it had strings hanging off of it, and it was supposed to look like a stocking, you know, but it was kind of square, and it really didn't look right. But you know what she did? She put a note inside. And when she sent it out, the note said, I know this isn't a pretty stocking, but I want you to know it was the first thing I ever knitted, and it's going to you, and it's going with love. So it was a really special stocking. Even though it didn't look like the others, it didn't have to. It was special all on its own. So we're going to talk about the elephant quilt. Anybody been to California?
No.
No?
I'm
You're
going in Arizona.
You're going? California is beautiful.
I went there yesterday. My dad's
Yeah.
in Arizona right now.
Is he?
For a long, long meeting from this Tuesday, and he's coming back tonight, late, like at midnight.
Oh, gee. I was there for a meeting many, many years ago, and the person I was with, we were on a business trip, and she was afraid of heights. So how we ever got there on the plane was a miracle, but she was afraid of heights, and there's a bridge in San Francisco, it's called the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's really, really big and long. And so the next morning we were going to go over that bridge, she saw the bridge, and she went, oh, I don't want to go over that bridge. And I said, we have to go to this meeting, we have to go over the bridge. So she shut her eyes the whole time, and she missed the most beautiful view of the water and the sky and the city, but she wouldn't look. So, there was nothing for you. Slow, slow, slow go the wagon wheels, but my little needle flies quickety, quickety, quick. We're going to California in a wagon train, Mama, Papa, and Grandma, and my big brother Lorenzo and me, Lily Rose. I'm sewing to California. So she's going to sew her way there. She's going to be in that wagon, that covered wagon. She's going to California. See, sometimes what would happen, when they were on their way to California, the settlers, they wouldn't have a horse or horses pulling in. They'd have a great big ox. And there's a great big ox pulling that wagon along.
And snow too.
Tiny stitches, Lily Rose, says Grandma. Tiny stitches make big, strong quilts. She pulls a scrap of ruby red silk out of her bag. Ooh, I say, let's sew red in our quilt, Grandma. Let's make fire and roses. And we'll see, says Grandma. And inside our new blue wagon, we've got a kettle and a cooking pot, a barrel of crackers, a hammer and nails, some blankets and bonnets and buckets and books. Mama's flower seeds and Grandma's scrap bag just jam-packed with the pieces of our quilt. The day we left home, Grandma embroidered on the first piece of the quilt, Missouri, April 15th, 1859, and then she stitched 3 words more on another piece. Ho for California, which means, you know, they're going for California, they're going to have a home in California. And there they are. There's that bag of quilt, the little pieces for the quilt, you know, all those little pieces that Grandma's taking that they're going to sew together. We're going to see the elephant, says Lorenzo. That's what people say when they head west. What is the elephant, I ask? Don't you wish you knew, he teases. Oh, it's something mighty big, I reckon, something powerful and strange, like a real elephant, but even bigger and stranger and wilder and scarier. Something bodacious. As he walks along, Lorenzo likes to sing. And he's singing, you know, I'm bound for Sacramento, which is the capital of California, I think we're all looking at each other. I think it is.
Sure.
I think it is.
It is, yeah.
Thank you.
It is.
Thank you, Margot. I take Margot everywhere with me. She gives me clues as to what I need to say. Why are we going west? Oh, we have lots of reasons. For gold, says Lorenzo. For land, says Papa. For health, says Grandma. Mama doesn't really want to go, but she doesn't want to stay behind either. And me, I want to see the elephant, whatever it is.
What is that?
She's going to tell you in a minute. Slow, 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 we roll along. Stitch, 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 and Kansas goes on nearly forever until one day, oh, mercy me. Looky there, cries Lorenzo. Golly, what a whopper. It's the elephant. No, it's a buffalo. Stand back. So I do.
It's a buffalo.
Big buffaloes.
Big buffalo.
Big buffaloes. They're also, what else are they called? They're also called bison.
I can't
Bison.
see. I can't see.
But they're not scared. Sitting by the campfire, night after night, Papa traces a line on the map. That's our road, the Santa Fe Trail. By and by, tall mountains rise up before us. Giant fingers chopped out of purple cloth and hemmed up against the sky, I think, as I sit sewing. And the tip-tops of those mountains are pure shining white, the splendorous sight I ever saw. Oh me, oh my, said Mama. I hope we don't have to climb them. You know, I gotta tell you, you know what they used to do sometimes when they would come to the mountains, or, you know, small mountains? They would pull the wagons up. They would take the wagons and the horses, and they would put big ropes on them. And people would go up on the top, and they'd slowly pull the wagons up, because there would be no way to get around. They'd have to go up. So that's what they used to do sometimes. Can we sew mountains in our quilt, I ask? Well, says Grandma, there's a quilt pattern called the Delectable Mountains. It's real pretty. So Sunburst, and I like Barn Raising, Princess Feather, Wild Goose Chase, Blazing Star. I believe your papa slept under that one, she says. But what's the name of our quilt? We'll see, says Grandma. On Independence Day, we camp at the foot of the mountains, and Lorenzo vanishes. Earthquakes, panthers, rattlesnakes, mama worries. Elephants? I say to myself. But at that moment, he waltzes into camp. Open your mouth and shut your eyes, he hollers. And my mouth is full of mountain snow. Snow on the 4th of July. So see, he'd gone up to the mountains, which he probably should have told somebody he was going, right? But he didn't. And he got a bunch of snow and brought it down. At long last, we roll into Santa Fe, where Mama buys beans and flour, and Grandma picks out pins and threads. Slathers of gold, that's where we came from. Bags of it, piles of it. Come along with me, partner, and see the elephant. And Lorenzo and I are raring to go. Humph, Papa said, looks like fool's gold to me. You know what fool's gold is? Sometimes if you go out and you find, you think it's usually quartz, and you see little flecks of gold in it. You know, quartz is like a white stone. It's like a white or a pink stone. But the white ones sometimes, if you look at them, look like little pieces of gold in it. It's not really gold. It's a mineral, but it's not gold. And sometimes you see that. So don't think it's real gold. I don't think we have.
Is it like clear?
Well, quartz is milky. It looks like milk. Some of it's clear. There's all different types of quartz. But the one that's milky, that looks white, has little flecks in it of what looks like gold, but it's not gold. It's just a mineral. I think there's any gold around here, actually. I peek over his shoulder and spell out a strange word. Gila Trail, G-I-L-A. And he says it's the name of a river, but Mama doesn't like the new map at all. It goes from nowhere, through nothing, to no place. But way, way far on the edge of the map is California. So off we go, slow as molasses, till late one afternoon, clouds puff up from little lambs to terrible rumbling herds of elephants. Boom, 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 here comes a flood, and Grandma runs lickety-split, just as fast as me. That must have been something to see. Inside the wagons, we all huddle together and hope we won't wash away. Pretty soon, Grandma starts a sewing, and Lorenzo is humming. Mile after long, long mile, stitch after tiny stitch, now we're driving down Doubtful Canyon, 8 miles along and 1 wagon wide. Doubtful Canyon leads to Apache Pass, and night comes and the thick rocks split open and 10 men jump out. Sure enough, they're Apaches. Cochise, says the tallest one, pointing to himself. Then his hand shoots out and rubs Papa's head. Papa's got no more hair than a hard-boiled egg, and those Apaches laugh till they fit to bust. Mercy, says Mama, they think you've already been scalped. Cochise gives a signal, and whoosh, his men disappear, but he sets himself down beside us, and nice and cozy for the night. The campfire sinks down to ashes, and far away wolves howl. Stars poke out the night like millions of pins. In the morning, Cochise gives Papa a quiver made of mountain lion skin and filled with arrows, and Mama gives Cochise the most beauteous piece of ruby red silk, which he ties around his head. Then he folds his arm and waits and watches till the wagons roll away. And so on we go, slow, slow, slow. The desert sun grows hotter every day. Anybody ever been to the desert?
No.
Really hot.
No.
Really hot there, isn't it?
No.
You don't want to be there too long. You need a lot of water if you go there. You need a lot of water. Why don't the cactus trees have any leaves, I want to know? Why don't we see the elephant? But everybody's too tired to answer. And here a stranger joins our wagon train. She's my baby sister, Gila, named for the river where she was born. She cries, but Mama smiles and smiles and smiles. I sing the baby a lullaby. We follow the Gila River until it's right up into the brown Colorado River. On the other side of the Colorado is California. Where's the elephant? I holler. Hold your horses, Lily Rose, says Papa. Still a ways to go. And so there is. On the other side of the river lies the horriblest desert I ever see. Sand hills, sandstorms, and the trail is chock full of bones. But just then, the poor tired oxen lift up their noses. Do they smell water? They do. So they come out of the desert and they're hot and they're tired and they need water. And those oxen, they stop and they smelled water, so everybody's going to be okay. A year goes by just like that. Orange trees all grow around our new home. The baby is that high, and Mr. Lorenzo has finally found himself a truly gold nugget almost as big as a pea. And looky there, many little needles fly quick, quick, quick. Our California friends have come to help us finally sew our new quilt together. Every quilt tells a story, Grandma says. You write it with a needle, and you read it with your heart. Our whole trip is in that quilt. But what about the elephant? Lorenzo said. Did you ever see it? And all at once I do. It's the whole long journey, step by step, and stitch by stitch. It's rambunctious. It's bodacious. Yes, I see the elephant from trunk to tail. Whoop-de-doo. So the elephant was the trip. The elephant was everything that they had done, this great, big, huge thing that they had done, which was a trip from one part of the country way across thousands of miles to go to a new home. And they finished up the quilt with their new friends that they met in California, her and her grandmother. So, you know what that means? That means you can pretty much do anything, right? You can do anything. That's what they did. Imagine what that was like all those years ago, to be in a wagon, right? How tough that was. You know, no cars, no TV, no cell phones, just a wagon pulled by a big old ox. You know, imagine
Is that actually what people used to do?
Yep, they used to go thousands and thousands of miles to have a better life, to try to build a home someplace else.
Were they so tired?
They were tired, yeah, they were tired. They you know, they used to eat a lot of beans and rice, and they'd make cornbread, and they'd always be looking for water because they could only carry so much water. So it was really important to find pools of water, to find rivers, to rest. Sometimes they were so hot where they were, they'd have to travel at night. So it was tough. It was tough, but they made it.
Is elephants in real life?
No, it's just a symbol. It's just a symbol for the trip. There weren't any elephants to be found. It was just how big, it was big like an elephant. Their trip was big like an elephant.
I'm going to California.
You are? You'll like it. If you go, you'll like
Yeah,
it.
because my mom showed me the pictures, and there was a lot of slides.
It's Florida,
Water
sweetheart.
slides.
It's Florida.
Oh,
not
Florida?
California.
Well, it's warm there too.
Yeah.
It's warm there too.
And we can swim a lot.
You can swim a lot? Good.
Boys and girls, what can we say to Miss Moura?
Thank you.
You are very welcome. It was so nice to be with you on a nice Friday and pizza day and everything. And, you know, pizza night.